What is up, Gato Squad? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Elias, and if you are new here and you like cars, hit that button below to subscribe. So today I wanted to give you another Civic Type R update. How it's been treating me, how I've been treating it, and my thoughts of how it is to own the Civic Type R, especially through the winter. So let's go ahead and get started. Cold out there. Alright guys, it's been a long time since I've given you guys an ownership update. It's been about 2 months since I last gave you a full ownership update review on the Type R, so I figured it was time to give you guys a little overview of what's going on and how my experience has been with this car. Now, there's going to be a lot of positives and negatives, so let's just get right into it. The first thing I gotta say is that every time I get into this car, it puts a smile on my face. It doesn't matter what I'm gonna be doing. I could be going to the doctor, I could be getting groceries, I could be, doing the most boring thing you could imagine, but as long as I'm driving the Type R, I'm smiling. And to a lot of people, that's basically the only thing that matters when they own a little sporty car. And to me, that's a very important part of car ownership. Any of the cars that I own, if it's a boring car, if it's something that I don't like to get into, if it's utilitarian, let's say I owned a van, I would probably never drive it because I would not get enough driving enjoyment out of it. The Type R though is extremely fun. The chassis setup, the suspension setup, the gem of an engine. I mean, I can't stop talking about the engine. It's such a good engine. It's just always fun to kind of rag on it. Let's go ahead and do that now. Oh yeah, it's great. Drop it into third, rev it up, it feels amazing. Now, as many of you know, I drive a 335D as well, and that's really my highway driver. I do travel a lot, I put a lot of mileage on that car, and it's my preferred car for the highway. It is a better car on the highway than the Type R. But as soon as the weather starts getting iffy, some inclement weather starts coming up, maybe some snow, some sleet, some cold rain or something, I always reach for my Type R key. And that's huge. And the fact is that the Type R is a much better winter car, a much better inclement weather car than a rear-wheel drive BMW can ever be. And that's because it's front-wheel drive, so it's easier to manage. It has that limited differential, which puts the power down very well in bad weather. So I always reach for the key when the weather gets bad, and in the bad weather, this car is even more fun than on a dry pavement weather. I'm not saying that it's not fun when I'm taking it out to a track or something. That's the most fun I've ever had with the car. But when it's raining or something like that, you get to test the limits of the car at a much lower speed. And if you guys have never done that before, you should give it a try, because it's at lower speed, it's safer, you can get into less trouble, and it's just a lot of fun to be had with any car. And in the rain and the snow, you kind of see how well this chassis is set up. You feel everything that the car is doing. You feel like you're a part of the car. And I love that about this car. And I made a video recently, the Just Drive video, of basically the main reason why you would buy a Type R. And other than the looks, I tend to like the looks. I like the way it's very bold. The way the car drives is the main reason you'd get this car. It drives amazing. A lot of times, what makes a great car are also those little things. Things like completely keyless entry. I was of the mindset that I don't really care about that. I have cars that are old, that have a regular key. I don't care about that stuff. It's not going to affect me. But now that I've been having it for about 8 months now, or 7 months, however long I own this car, I like it, especially in the winter. I put it in my jacket pocket. I put it right in here, and I don't have to worry about it. I just go and drive. I don't have to, put the key in, and I'm cold, and I have to struggle with it. I just put it in my pocket, get in the car, turn the engine on, and go. And that's a huge benefit to having a car like this. Keyless entry and keyless ignition is highly underrated, I think. like I said, people like me, I was like, I don't really care about keyless entry. That stuff doesn't matter to me. Give me a regular key. I don't really care. But after having it, especially in the winter, especially in the cold, it's one of those features that you miss. So I have my other cars are all non-keyless entry, non-keyless ignition. So you got to put the key in, and I find myself kind of missing this feature that this car has. So that's something to keep in mind. The other thing that I like about this car is the capabilities in the back. And what I mean is, it is extremely useful in terms of carrying capacity and the way you can just throw stuff back there and not have to worry about it. Recently I had to take care of a few things. Some of my properties, I own real estate and I have tenants, and every once in a while things go wrong, and sometimes I have to take the car out in bad weather. And what car do I take out when it's bad weather? It's this car, of course. So I took the car out, had to go to Home Depot, had to go to Lowe's, pick up some stuff, folded the seats down, threw it in the back, no big deal at all. That's why you buy a hot hatch. People seem to forget that this car is not all about extreme performance. While it performs extremely well, it's not all about that. The reason you buy this car is because it's also extremely practical. You know, you drive a Mustang, you're not going to be able to put any kind of building materials in the back. With this thing, fold the seats down, you're good to go. Another little thing that people seem to forget is that this car has all of these 3 different modes, and they really do matter. In the winter, I almost always use comfort mode because, for the most part, I'm not a big fan of the winter. I'm kind of cranky. I'm kind of not in a good mood. I kind of want to be comfortable when I go drive, especially when I drive the Type R. It's inclement weather. I put it in comfort mode, and I'm good to go. It's comfortable. It feels like the Civic hatchback that I used to own. You guys remember that hatchback I used to own? If you haven't been around that long, go check out those older videos. But it feels really comfortable. It feels like you're driving a normal Civic. You don't have to worry about stuff. The bumps and the undulations and the bad roads, they all kind of melt away, and it's a great feeling. Now let's talk about some of the other things that I really haven't been updating you guys on. Miles to the gallon, not that great, especially in the winter. You get a winter blend. It's called the gasoline that we get. It's kind of a winter blend. It's not the best gasoline you can get. It's gasoline made to work in the cold, so it's not always the best. And I'm getting around 19 to 20 miles to the gallon with this car. And for a little 4-cylinder hatchback, that's kind of terrible. The other thing is that where I live, they use a lot of rocks, they use a lot of gravel whenever it snows, and we've had a bit of snow already this year. So I've put these awesome Rally Armor mud flaps to work, and in the front they've done an excellent job at providing protection for the paint. But with that said, my wheels are the way that my wheels are. Whenever you splash or something, it still gets on the doors. This car gets filthy in the winter. No matter how hard you try to keep it clean, it's gonna get filthy if you drive it around and it rains or snows. It's just gonna get really dirty. I've been cleaning this car once a week, and it still looks extremely dirty. There's not much I can do about that, but that's something to keep in mind. The other thing is that the mud flap install that I did in the rear, it was perfect in the summer. Didn't have anything to contend with. The problem is, in the winter, you get a whole bunch of snow, you're backing up, and it puts a lot of stress on that 3M tape that I used to mount up those rear mud flaps. Unfortunately, both of my mud flaps have had to come off. And I took one off already because that's the first side that came off. I kind of left the other side on because it was still good, and now the other side is kind of flapping around now, so that'll have to come off, unfortunately. Not that I'm too worried about it. The rear mud flaps were there kind of more for, I guess, symmetry. You know, the front ones are the most useful ones. They're the ones that actually help the body and the underbody get saved from the rock trips and things like that. The back ones are there. You know, they help a little bit, but not really. They kind of help save the paint and the bumper. It's helpful, but when they're flapping around like that, they're kind of, loose. There's no real way to mount them unless you want to put a hole back there somewhere, which I don't want to do. I'm just going to remove them and leave them removed through the winter. I'll probably remove the fronts as soon as the spring hits so that I can start taking this car to the track. And that's something I'm really excited for. Track days in this car. I can't wait for them to start up. I think hopefully in late March they start up in this season. It's going to be really fun. We're going to have a lot of guys coming out. You guys, of course, going to come out as well. And we'll have a lot of fun. And that really is the end of the update. Everything else with the car has been pretty good. We still haven't figured out the transmission issue. We'll hopefully figure that out soon. I do have a clutch master cylinder being sent to me. Hopefully we get that soon and sort it out, and that'll help the issue. And that's really it, guys. Thanks for watching. As always, if you haven't yet, please go ahead and subscribe. And I'll catch you guys next time. Peace out.